Hello class, good morning or good afternoon, good night, how are you? For today's class, we're going to learn three different things. First, we're going to learn how to use the verb have and has. Second, we are going to practice some pronunciation of numbers. We're going to review the numbers, and finally we are going to learn how to ask questions with the verb to be and the question how old is or how old are. So in the first section of the class, we're going to learn the use of the verb have and has. These two verbs, they mean exactly the same in Spanish. It means the verb tener. Yo tengo un carro, yo tengo una casa, yo tengo los ojos negros, etc. That means the verb have and has. So we're going to learn first the different uses that we can give to the verb have and has. So first, we use the verb have and has to show that something belongs to somebody. So, for example, he has a son. Él tiene un hijo. So that is a belonging. So that this son, that this boy belong to this guy. Let's take a look at the next example. They have a big house. Ellos tienen una casa grande. So it means that this big house belongs to them. So it shows belongings. The second use of the verb have and has is to describe people, things, and animals. For example, when we want to describe the characteristics of somebody or of an animal or an object, we use the verb has and have. Let's see an example here. For example, in this case, we are describing this guy who is called Brian. So, for example, I want to describe his hair. So, Brian has short hair. Brian tiene el cabello corto. He has small ears. Él tiene orejas pequeñas. So, in this example, we are describing the characteristics of a person. Let's see another example. In this case, we have a computer. So, we are describing, in this case, an object. So, for example, what are the characteristics of this laptop? This laptop has 1 terabyte hard drive. Este computador tiene 1 terabyte de memoria. So we are describing one characteristic. Another characteristic of this computer is that it has 8 gigabytes RAM memory. So this is another characteristic. Tiene 8 gigabytes de RAM. So these are examples of the verb has and have to describe a characteristic. Another use that we can give to the verb has and have is in expressions like I have a headache. For example, when we are sick, when we have an illness, we can use expressions like I have a headache. Tengo un dolor de cabeza. I have a backache. Tengo un dolor de espalda. I have a toothache. Tengo un dolor de muela. In expressions like, for example, when we are sick also, Danny has a cold, Danny tiene una gripa, or Danny has a cough, Danny está tosiendo. So in those expressions, we can also use have and have, has and have. For example, when we want to say that we are in problem, so we can say we have a problem. So those are expressions we can use. And finally, we can move to how we can formulate or how we can write sentences using has and have. In this case, I'm going to show you how to write affirmative and negative sentence using all the pronouns. So in this case, we have, for example, I, when we want to say yo tengo tal cosa, I have a. For example, I have a car. Yo tengo un carro. If it's the opposite, yo no tengo un carro. How can I say that? Yo no tengo un carro. Okay, we can use the negative form. I don't have a car. So in this case, I am saying yo no tengo un carro. I don't have a car. Let's move to the other ones. She has a car. Ella, remember that this is the pronoun ella in Spanish. She has a car. Ella tiene un carro. He has a car. Él tiene un carro. It has a big. Aquí le cambié obviamente que los animales no tienen carro hasta donde yo sé. It has a big. For example, in this case, I'm talking about an animal. Yes, remember, an animal or an object. Recuerden que este pronombre lo utilizamos para animales y objetos. It has a beak. For example, él tiene un pico, refiriéndonos a un animal. Remember that in these cases, she and he, we can also use a proper name. For example, Danny has a car. Jose has a car. Andrea has a car. Remember that we can use also proper names. So let's move here. They have a car. Ellos tienen un carro. We can also use, instead of using they, we can also use proper names. For example, Andrea and Jose have a car. Another example, my wife and I have a son. In this case, we are referring to two or more people, so in this case we can use have. We have a car. Nosotros tenemos un carro. And finally, you have a car. Tú tienes un carro. Entonces, resumiendo, in sum up, we use have, yes? We use have with the pronouns I, with the pronoun they, with the pronoun we, with the pronoun you. And we use has with the pronouns she, he, it, or a proper name in singular. Now, let's move to the negatives. In the negatives, we can see that in this case we use the negative contraction don't. So that is the negative sense. It gives the negative sense in the sentence. So, I don't have a car. Yo no tengo un carro. She doesn't have a car. Ella no tiene un carro. He doesn't have a car. Él no tiene un carro. It doesn't have a big. Él no tiene un pico. So, if you can notice, in these negative examples, we use, instead of has, we use have. Yes, we use have in these negative constructions. So let's continue. So we continue here. They don't have a car. We don't have a car. Nosotros no tenemos un carro. They don't have a car. Ellos no tienen un carro. You don't have a car. Tú no tienes un carro. So, in a summary, for the negative sentences, we use the expression don't. Yes, don't have, que significaría no tiene. Yo no tengo. I don't have a car. So we use don't with the pronouns I. We also use don't with the pronoun they. We use don't with the pronoun we and with the pronoun you. But with she, with the pronoun she, he, and it, we use doesn't, and doesn't. And the verb remains in this form, have. Okay guys, now before we continue with the next topic, we're going to do this brief activity. So, remember that you can participate in this activity by answering these activities in the comments of this video. So, what is the activity about? The activity is that you're going to write sentences using has or have, depending on the example. So we have here an example we are here a picture and we have here the clues. He guitar. So the idea is for you to write an example using has or have. So in this case, as we are using the pronoun he, so we are going to write a sentence like this. He has or have. So in this case, as we are using he, we use has. He has, what he has? A guitar. So he has a guitar. So that is the activity. Write a sentence like this using the clues that we have here. So I'm going to show you the different, the other examples. So you are going to pause the video, organize your activity, and participate by answering in the comments of this video. So they motorcycle. Here we have Carla, long hair. I, mustache. And finally we have here Mary and Sandra, laptop. So complete this activity, participate in the comments of this video. Okay guys, so in this second part of the class we're going to learn not all the numbers. I'm going to give you as a hunger so for you to study the numbers from 0 to 100. So in this case I'm going to focus on the pronunciation of the following numbers that I know that in some cases are very difficult for most of the students to pronounce. So let's see the pronunciation. As you can see, obviously they are written differently. Yes, the spelling is different, but when we are going to pronounce them, they sometimes sound very similar. So the clue for pronunciation is that in this case the tone of the voice rises at the end. So we are here, this one is a weak tone of voice and it ends in a strong, in a higher tone of voice. So we have 13. Look that at the end of the sentence we have a stronger tone of voice. So in this case 30, the highest tone of voice is at the beginning and at the end is very weak. So we have 30. 13, look, here is the highest, and in this example 30, the highest tone of voice is at the beginning. So 13, 30. This is the pronunciation of those pair of numbers in this case and in the other examples that we're going to see. So in this case 14, 40. So we have here 14 and we have here 40. So look that this is the same rise of the voice here, and here it's decreasing the tone of voice. So we have something like this. 14, it rises. 14, so here is the contrary, it decreases the tone of voice. 40. So let's see the other examples. 15, rise of voice. In this one is decreases. 50. 15, 50. The other examples we have 16, 60. Let's repeat it again. 16, so 16, and in this one is 60. Let's continue. 17, 70. 17, 70. So it rises here, in this one it decreases. 18 and 80. So guys, we are here 18, we are here 80, and finally we are here 19, and we are here 90. So this is the pronunciation of these words, of this pair of words that, in my opinion, they are the most difficult for you to pronounce and to identify. So what is your homework? What is your duty? Your duty is to look in the internet the numbers from 0 to 100. That is your duty, to look for these numbers and to study them, because probably you will need them in other classes. So I'm going to read right here what you are going to do. So what is your homework? Your homework is to study numbers from 0 to the 100. That is your duty. And finally, the last topic for today is questions with how old. How old is one of the question words that we use to ask for the people age. So let's have an example here. For example, this woman is asking the boy, how old are you? ¿Cuántos años tienes? And the boy is asking, I am 4. As you can see in this example, the guy used the verb to be to answer the question. And the woman in the question, they use how old, and she uses the verb to be as well. So that is something to take into account when we ask the question. So let's have here some examples for you to see. So as I told you, we use the verb to be in the questions with how old. Yes, in this case we use the verb to be is to ask questions using these pronouns: he, she, proper names in singular. For example, this is a noun in singular. Tu hermana is one person, your sister. So in singular we use how old is. ¿Cuántos años tiene él, ella? ¿Cuántos años tiene John? ¿Cuántos años tiene Daniela? ¿Cuántos años tiene tu hermana? In those examples we use is because we are talking about the singular. Yes, we are talking about one person in those examples. How we can answer that question? So, for example, how old is he? So we can answer la respuesta, he is 19 years old. Él tiene 19 años. How old is she? ¿Cuántos años tiene ella? She is 10. Ella tiene 10. How old is John? John is 23. John tiene 23. How old is Daniela? Let's see. Daniela is 16. Daniela tiene 16 años. How old is your sister? ¿Cuántos años tiene tu hermana? My sister is 15. Mi hermana tiene 15. Okay, we continue here. In the examples above, we use is. In this case, we use the verb to be are, because we're going to talk about subjects in plural. Yes. For example, how old are you? ¿Cuántos años tienen ustedes? O recuerden que you también se puede utilizar para ¿cuántos años tienes tú? Esta es la única excepción. The rest are pronouns in plural because they are talking about more than one person. For example, how old are they? ¿Cuántos años tienen ellos? Están hablando de más de una persona. More than one people. How old are we? ¿Cuántos años tenemos nosotros? How old are your parents? ¿Cuántos años tienen tus padres? How old are Amy and Alice? ¿Cuántos años tienen Amy y Alice? So let's see some examples how we can ask that question. For example, how old are you? ¿Cuántos años tienes tú? Let's see how we can answer. I am 26. Yo tengo 26 años. I am 26. How old are they? ¿Cuántos años tienen ellos? They are in their 20s. Otra manera en que podemos responder es, por ejemplo, utilizando expresiones como estas. 20s, en sus 20s. It's not a specific number, but it gives you an idea that they are in the 20s. Could be 21, 22, 23, 24. That means the 20s. Están en sus 20s. How old are we? We are 18. Tenemos 18. How old are your parents? ¿Cuántos años tienen tus padres? Possible answer, your parents. Okay, sorry. Here, como están preguntando por tus padres, podríamos responder aquí, my parents. Sorry. My parents are 50. Mis papás tienen 50. How old are Amy and Alice? Amy is 22. Alice is 19. Amy tiene 22, Alice tiene 19. And finally, a common mistake that people make is that they use the verb have and has to say the age. So, in this case, when we want to say yo tengo 10, yo tengo 20, ella tiene 30, to say the age, we use the verb to be. Remember, the verb to be is are, am. This is the verb to be, and we use it to say our age. This is a common mistake because in Spanish we use yo tengo 20. We use the verb tengo. The verb tengo, that is have a has. But in English, we don't use the verb have. Yo tengo 26. No, señor, that is not the way. We use the verb to be. We use the verb to be. For example, if I want to say yo tengo 26, I'm saying I am 26. Incorrect. Don't say I have. Es incorrecto decir yo tengo 26 literalmente utilizando este verbo tener. So, what do you use? The verb to be. For example, Dani tiene 18. Okay, Dani is 18. Incorrect is to say Danny has 18. Another example, my parents are 50. Mis padres tienen 50. Correct form, the verb to be are. Incorrect form, to say my parents have. Entonces, no traduzcan del español literalmente el yo tengo 26, Daniela tiene 18, mis papás tienen 50. No lo traduzcan literalmente con el verbo has y have. No. Utilizamos para decir la edad el verbo to be. Okay guys, so the second activity for this video class is we are going to have some conversations and you're going to complete them with how old is or how old are and the correct form of the verb to be. Remember, the forms of the verb to be are three: am, is, and are. So those are the three forms of the verb to be. So let's have an example here. So example, your mom. Estamos hablando de tu mamá, your mom. So in this case we use how old is. Remember, we are talking about one person, your mom, tu mamá, one person, that is singular. So we use how old is your mom. ¿Cuántos años tiene tu mamá? Answer, my mom is in her 30s. Mi mamá está en sus 30s. So that is the activity. So what is the mechanic for this activity? Complete the activity and write your answers in the comments of this video. So I'm going to show each exercise. You pause the video and complete it. So, this is I. This is the space. Okay. Number 2, Jesus. Number 3. And number 4. So, pause the video, complete the activity, and write your comments of the answers in this video. Okay, guys, so this is all for today class. I hope you have liked this class. I hope you have learned something new about this class. And remember to participate in the activities, in the two activities that I propose for this class. Remember to go to Google Classroom and complete the activity that I assigned for this week. And remember to go to the book, to the material of the book, to the pages that I'm going to put here in this space, and continue your self-study and practice with the activities of the book. This is all for today, class. See you in the next week.